on this episode of the Who Is This podcast, brought to you by Double R Communications and Southwest Mortgage Partners of Union Home Mortgage, Davis and I sat down with Arnold Lopez. Arnold is a longtime Gila Valley resident. He's been here his entire life, has served a lot of different roles in the community, both with the town of Thatcher and city of Safford. He's been on the National Guard, been in the military, and just has had a lot of involvement in our community. He's currently on Safford City Council and is up for re-election. So we talk about his past time on City Council and kind of what he has in plan for the upcoming years. So it was great talking to Arnold. I've known Arnold for a long time. He's just a really good guy. Really enjoyed talking with him, and we hope you enjoy listening. Okay, red light. We're rolling.
We're rolling.
So, Arnold Lopez, thanks for coming to talk to us today.
You bet.
Me and Arnold go way back.
Oh,
we do.
When I worked for the town of Thatcher, he was over there. And how long were you with the town?
I got like 17 years in with them. However, I had worked with the city of Safford before, three different times. So that time counted also towards
your state
retirement.
There you go.
Which is a good thing.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that was one of the things that was hard for me to give up whenever I made that decision. I had a lot of people telling me don't do it.
Well, it does accumulate, and that's one of the things I try to talk to Safford employees about is the mine. It pays well, there's no doubt about it, and they get their bonuses often enough, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
But in the long run, I think the insurance retirement is way better.
Yeah. With Safford too. Safford does pretty.
Yes, it's the same.
Oh, because it's state. Yeah,
it's state.
Yeah, and we were talking to, was it Luke that was telling us that the insurance, that Safford's insurance is pretty good too.
Yeah, it was 90-10. And this time around, it got voted to 100%.
Yeah, that's what he was saying, which is huge.
It's unheard of with governments like that in this state. I think only one other entity gives 100%, which is a topic could be for discussion.
Yeah,
that take place on there. You're gonna pull it.
I will say though, the mine has a pretty good retirement program.
Yeah, well, I think you contribute more to it though. I'm not sure.
But they match it, and I mean we happen to know that because we do mortgages, and very many people are able to use their retirement as either reserves or down. So we see what people are putting in their retirement, and it's pretty darn good.
Yeah, they certainly have to.
Yeah.
But the state, I still would match it up against that because in the long run, it does real good, I think.
That's the thing, though, in the long run, because Freeport's retirement, I mean, I could be there 4 years and I have access to it, but with the state, you have to put in the years in order to have right? Because how long were you at the town? And
well, the only reason it's been so long now I can't even remember, but when I didn't have a lot in there when I left, so I don't know. But basically, they let me cash it out, but I wasn't fully vested. Yeah, I wasn't fully vested.
And with the city of Safford, I worked with them 3 different times. And as I left it in there, now there was a level there. If you didn't have enough years in, you had to take it out. So when I went back to Thatcher, which is a long story how I ended going to there, I got to buy that back, and that really came out to benefit me. I'm glad I did.
Yeah, and so were you a lineman with Safford as well as Thatcher, or just Thatcher?
Well, with Safford, it's that's a long story, Isaac.
Let's hear it.
It's a long one. It goes back when where Thrifty is now. There used to be a power plant. In fact, I don't know if you noticed when Thrifty got built, they had to dig a hole about 30 foot deep because of the big dynamos, the generators that were in that power plant. they believed that too much oil and seepage went into the ground, and they had to dig it out for environmental reasons before Thrifty could build on there. But that was quite a while back, and I worked there, and then it was kind of like they were going to sell it. They were talking about selling the electrical. Safford owns their own electric distribution. That's one of the entities we'll probably talk about. And so I thought, well, there's no future here. And I was working on the line gang then. I was a ground hand, and I worked with old Melvin Whinton. You may not recognize it. Your dad would.
Okay.
Melvin Whinton, Norris Whitecotton, John Taylor, Dave Matthews. That's taking it back in the day. I don't even think you were thought of at that time.
I recognize some of those names, yeah.
But anyway, so I joined the military because I thought, well, they're selling it and going on, And I grew up with Vietnam on the TV every night, so that was still in me. Started out black and white, and by the time I was out of there, it was in color. But so I went off then, and when I came back, I claimed my own old job back with the city of Safford, and that's when I began the beginning part of my apprenticeship, on the job, learning how to work up in the power lines. And then, but when I got out of the service, the economy, won't name any particular parties, the interest rate for a home was like 12%, because this is back in the early 80s. So couldn't make it on that. So I went to the mine and worked there for Morenci Water and Electric, where I did finish my actual paperwork apprenticeship. And then I came back to Safford, and there was it ended up during my time when I worked with the mine, they had a strike. And so I went to school on my GI Bill, and that's when I went to the college and studied solid state circuitry, electronics.
Here at EA?
Here at EA. Electrical theory. And that's where I got the majority of my book learning part about it, where the mathematics comes into electricity quite a bit, and to figure out where different waveforms are, power factors, all that's involved with it and stuff. So and then I, which helped me, electrical theory helped me with getting my journeymanship. And I was glad I did, because the rest of the years studying distribution, electricity, the math, and that study helped out a great deal on that. And that's one thing I heard, that I don't know if you still have questions or stuff. One thing I had heard about, because I did 4 years active duty at Fort Hood, Texas, Patton's own 2nd Armored Division. You got to get that in there. You just ain't right. And in fact, when I went in to the 2nd Armored Division, General Patton from World War II, his son was my commanding general of that division. So it was kind of cool, historic. I'm small town. I'm Patton's son.
Yeah.
My commanding general. I thought that was really nice. And so that was quite interesting. 4 years then, and when I got out, I ended up going into the Arizona Army National Guard. And I ended up doing 26 years total, retiring from the National Guard also.
Wow.
So that's another nice little retirement.
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
Well, you put the work in. You should be.
26 years total.
Wow.
26 years total. But that's one thing I had heard somebody, I don't know if it was on this broadcast or David Bell's broadcast, there was somebody talking about getting the National Guard to participate more here in the Valley.
And we talked about that, but I don't think we posted it yet. So I wonder if Jake talked about it on David Bell's too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we had Jake Garcia on, who's running as well, and we did touch base on that, but we haven't posted that podcast yet. But he did mention he was on David Bell's show a couple times, so that's probably where you heard it.
I heard that, and I thought, well, he just doesn't know. But that's not an original idea. We did in the National Guard here, because it used to be what he is part of combat engineers. I believe he's combat engineers, but engineers out here at this National Guard, we had dump trucks, graders, bulldozers, backhoes, all the stuff for, there's engineers. There's horizontal and then there's vertical engineers. And so we did participate in the Valley in a lot of projects. I can remember taking some representatives from the Phoenix area for the first time back then, going across 32nd Street, where that was the first time we were thinking of that walking path. And the way it came out about, we rough cut a lot of that 32nd Street ourselves along down to Ray Lane. We helped build 32nd Street, Norton Lane, which ended up being, we made it wider, made it more sustainable, shored up the infrastructure, and now you have Norton Lane where a lot of the mines trucks go through now. Up at Sanchez Road, we used to grade the roads behind the armory where now it's paved, Stockton, that's where we'd practice. We helped with a lot of the infrastructure at the park. We would bring in dirt from different washes or wherever, help build up that park to where some of the soccer fields are now, and rodeo arena and things. So having the National Guard help us here in the Valley isn't, I'm not saying somebody isn't a good idea for them to bring back up, but we did used to do a lot of that.
Are they still? I mean,
no, not so much. The building is owned by the county, and it was dormant for a long time. There was no activity going on in there. So, and I don't like to say because it takes more than one. Talked to some of the supervisors in the county and stuff and said, hey, some of our representatives that come to town quite often, like Gail and Gowan and some of them who are our representatives now, hey, why don't they come back? Because they're in Florence. Why don't they come back? We can use them here. And you can use them to the extent where they don't interfere with contractors that could possibly get that as that
job,
making their living. Yeah. But why don't we get them back? And so they must have hit a nerve in Phoenix or something. But that's when they brought these guys in, which are really vertical. They're not heavy equipment like we were in the past. Yeah, they build things now.
Yeah, and Jake did recognize, or mentioned that he mentioned the road to the shooting range out there was built by the National Guard. So he didn't claim it to be an original idea. He was just thinking, why don't we do that more as far as plumbing work, electrical work, different different things that they're working on in Safford, so that's kind of what he touched base on.
Why example
I don't want to sound like I was putting him down.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
No, we can use him as a citizen to help us with the legislators to bring them back. We still have need for them. We had flood. We helped out with the flood. In Greenlee County, Cochise County, different stuff like that, where we were available here. And so that's that part of it. And another thing, one of the other medias wrote me down as retiring out here as a first sergeant. Now, first sergeant's a different level. It's like an E9. I was the acting first sergeant out here at an E7 level. So I wanted to get that out there. I don't want no stolen valor to go that way.
You had to do all the work, but you didn't get the actual E9.
we were a detachment from Phoenix. There was about 90 of us out here that I was the acting first sergeant over. So
gotcha.
I really did enjoy that. And I got to toot our horn. It was from different counties, Greenlee, Cochise, New Mexico and stuff. And we have all these people, all this talent. Because I myself, if you have a conflict or you have something like that, we have older people in the Guard. They come from backgrounds that are they're not fresh out of high school. They got some background and some knowledge and stuff, and that's a more formidable foe to deal with than just your average 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Because we would go out to sites, and sometimes I would catch a little gruff from the Phoenix area. How come you have that E5 over these people and stuff like that, you know, when he doesn't really have the rank. He may not have had the rank, but I wanted him in that position because he had the knowledge out here in civilian life.
Yeah.
And we got things done pretty good.
That makes a lot of sense.
If we
Yeah.
got it that way. But yeah, I did 25 years in the National Guard, retired from that, and used to be the acting first sergeant out here. And I was going to retire on my 25. And in fact, that's the first time I was going to date my wife, was around there. And I was going to retire at 25. Well, that was the time that they hit the Twin Towers. They brought them down. The governor says, you're not going anywhere. So I didn't even really get to go out on that first date on a timely manner because my time was not my own for a long time, nor any of us. And then, you know, I did retire after 26 because I felt that it leveled out and stuff like that. Then my whole bunch took off overseas. I said, oh, man, that kind of... I said some bad words.
No.
Yeah, I did. I said some bad words. But I did get to welcome them home when they marched down Main Street, and we met them at the courthouse and got to invite them home. And it was a great time.
That's cool.
It was. And that... Still yakking. I thought I wasn't going to have anything to say.
Listen,
but
I knew you'd be a great episode. I did.
I knew I was going to tell you and everybody else. I should have put that on Be Quiet.
Oh, you're good.
I say be quiet because I tell my kids that, my grandkids. His family and I go back a long ways. A lot of people in this valley, I go back a long ways. I didn't need people from Washington telling me that it took a village to raise a child. I came from one of them. I am part of that. A lot of people. My mom used to work at his grandma's house, Marty. We called her Marty. You know, most of the time you call them Mr. or Mrs., but there are a few that you call them by their first name because that's just as respectful for some reason. It happens that way. Your grandpa HP helped my mom get her first Volkswagen, and of course, your dad and I went to school together, and
I was going to ask. So you graduated from Thatcher? Okay, yeah. I wasn't because I know you're so involved with Safford. I've never really known if that's where you actually. Okay.
I graduated from Thatcher, and
it's same year as my dad.
Yes.
Okay.
And like I say, I grew up in a village where, and I'm old school. I thought. My wife said, and don't say that you're not going to be politically correct. You don't need to say that. Well, I'm not usually.
You don't have to be.
We work together, you know. It just comes out sometimes. But, yeah, you know, it wasn't nothing to go downtown. And on the way, like Mrs. Hale, where I lived, she'd say, get my mail too, honey. And you'd go to the post office. And you'd get her mail too and take it home. And you did park your bike in front of the door, and your dog knew not to get in there. That's kind of strange. I had to, in the college where the cafeteria part is. Okay, I had to go talk at the economic forum one day, and that was kind of strange too. The mayor was supposed to speak, and then he couldn't right then, so they told me just about a half hour before, and so it was my turn to speak, and I followed Mayor Howard and Paul Roger David. So usually when you follow them two, there's nothing much more left to say. They usually cover it pretty good. So it was my turn, and when they introduced me as the mayor. So I said, well, I got a free shot here, you know. But anyway, just kind of a crazy, boring little story. You know them windows are back behind you when they put the podium up and you're facing...
The highway.
Yes, you're facing that big old glass. And I was telling them, like, well, will you guys look behind me here through this big old window right through here? And you know Norman Rockwell, how he paints all them calendars and different things about old time and stuff like that. I said, that's the way I see this window. I said, I can look out there from here and I can still see Uncle Phil's house right there and his pecan trees.
That's Phil Curtis, right?
Yep.
Everyone called him Uncle Phil. Yeah.
And I said, and right here where I'm standing used to be the post office. And across the street was Bishop Stoll's and Mr. Moody's marketplace and the drugstore. And it was, I said, well, you can see that kite still stuck in Uncle Phil's pecan tree. And I just got to talk, and I remembered that. And it was like a Norman Rockwell at that time, what I was talking to him about. I don't exactly know why I had to tell you that, but small town values, and I enjoy that.
Well, that's what I love about our valley is you've been here for how many years now?
Other than just being under Patton's own 2nd Armored Division, 4 years when I was away. The rest of the time I've been here. I would live sometimes with my dad in California, but other than that, my whole life.
Yeah, so you were raised, and I expect to be where you're at, in the future. I expect to talk about how it was when I was a kid and, growing up.
I already kind of do sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And so that's why I love our valley is because it keeps people here. You can't really say it's unique because I'm sure there's a lot of small towns that are like this, but, it's not as common for someone to spend their whole life within 15 miles,
Yes.
living right here. And I'm going to be in that same boat. And there's a lot of people here that just stay here. And so I'm glad you shared those stories because I love hearing those types of stories. I love hearing about what it was like back then. That's like, any stories that you could tell me about my grandma or, I would love to hear those. So, thanks for sharing that.
Well, I do miss Uncle Phil to this day. I could always call him up, and there were others, of course, Mrs. Norris, that when I lost track of who lived there, the history behind it, I could call them up, and they would fill me in. Well, nephew, Uncle Phil, so-and-so lived down there, and blah, 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 and they were a world of knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, which is cool.
Yes.
Yeah, my family. If you grew up in Thatcher, I'm sure you know a lot of my family. We've kind of been in this valley forever. The Howards.
Yes.
Yeah. So Gene Howard is my grandpa. So
Yes,
I'm sure.
Yes, I do.
Patty's my mom. So you
really.
I'm sure you know.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Patty's the baby, I believe.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. She's the baby. Of course, Mr. Howard. He's kind of one of my heroes. Used to watch him play baseball forever. Back again when the infrastructure wasn't quite the same, where the ball field was more outside and all the cars were circled around somewhat under the trees, and Big Ron could hit that ball all the way over on the restrooms. You ask him. We would get up on there when we could get on top there. We'd go back, Rudy Alva. We'd get way back there when they came up so we could get a home run ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Howard, he wasn't nobody to mess with.
Yeah.
And he could throw that ball. He could throw that pill.
I didn't know your grandpa was such a good baseball player.
Oh yeah.
And
a quarterback.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
There was a bunch of them.
Yeah.
There is a bunch of them. We're all good. And again, saying politically correct, there wasn't anybody crying about, my son's going to play second base, that's all he's going to play. That didn't happen.
Yeah, it is crazy how much politics there are in
No.
youth sports now.
It depended who was pitching, where you played.
Yeah.
And you rode to the game in back of the truck with the cattle guard. Mr. Mullino, Dale Mullino, Art's mom and dad and family. That's Tommy's grandpa. Yep.
Which is Trent's. Is that Trent's grandpa too?
Great
Grandpa.
grandpa.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So obviously, I'm assuming, you're from here. You've lived here your whole life. This is probably your motivation for being in local politics.
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
You want to see the community thrive, but also
it's going to grow.
Right.
We can't stop it.
Right.
But we do have to have some control on it, and I don't mean to slow it down, but help guide it. We do have to guide it towards where it's going. with our infrastructure. That's what I was going to get at. When I was, this is how I got into utilities and infrastructure, because that's part of my background. I always worked in utilities somewhere, somehow, because like summertime, because if you didn't know how to drive by the time you were 7 or 8, you didn't have a summertime job, even if it was burning weeds. And so when we were like 15, they had this program like the Youth Corps. You had summertime jobs, and we would work for the town of Thatcher. And we would build sidewalks, trim trees, clean alleys. And, well, Mr. Windsor's passed now, so the limit of the statute is passed. We would be driving around all over town. Our boss was 16. He didn't have a license, but we did all the work. And we got to build a lot of the infrastructure, sidewalks. A lot of it's gone now because Tommy Screw, you part of it, have finally got it going and stuff. But always dealt with that. And I used to help Mr. Hollowell. He worked on the power lines for the town of Thatcher. And so sometimes I would get to go with him. An old like 56 Cheyenne pickup with the basket on the ladder on the back, and raise it around, take it around, and helped him work on the street lights and the power lines. And that stayed in me forever, and I ended up 45 years working in the power lines. I retired as a journeyman lineman, and that's kind of where I got my bite. I don't mean get bit by electricity, but some of the things they had me do, I'm wondering I am alive. And then before I did retire, I got to be, and I reminded Mr. Brown the other day, hey, I was involved with putting up the first traffic signal in Thatcher. So that was kind of cool.
Which would have been which one? The one
by
on Stadium? Oh,
yes, by the post office.
By the post office, yeah.
I saw some pictures, but they're on my old phone. I need to recharge it. I need to grab one of them off there.
I'm trying to think what year that was. It had to have been after 90, because I'm pretty sure I remember it.
Yes,
being,
it was after
yeah,
the 90s.
I'm pretty sure I remember that light going up and it being such a big deal. Thatcher got a stoplight. Like that was pretty exciting. Yeah.
Well, yes, you're right. That's kind of why when I began on the council, I ran, didn't make a showing, tried to get on, but they put Mr. Hancock on.
What year was that about? Sorry to ask you the hard questions.
Over 16 years ago.
Okay, so a while.
That's when I first tried to get on there and stuff. So now when Mr. Smith, when Danny went to the county, there was an opening there. And those on the council and stuff knew my background. And we know each other. So they said, they asked me to put, if I would put in, which I had called them and told them I'm looking to put in for that. So because of my utility background, they thought I'd be a good fit, and they put me on there. They nominated me on there. So I've been on there ever since, and I think I have served well. We, because you probably know by now, Safford, being one of only two, like Mesa's the only other one, that actually own their own utilities. We have water, gas, electric, sewer, a landfill, sanitation department, library, golf course, airfield. We have a lot of entities that other cities and towns actually don't have or have to worry about. And that is all part of our budget too, which is, we did our tentative budget the other day. I think we came out to like $134 million was our cap. And so, but there's a lot of things involved in that budget, and it don't all go in the same pocket. That's like you sometimes hear, why are you fixing that sidewalk right there in that neighborhood? Well, you may have been given grant money that's all you could use it for.
Specifically for that project,
Specifically targeted. And and that happens out a lot, with some of our roads and things like that are specific to where they go. And these are entities. These are businesses we own and manage. Now, that monies can't be used with the general fund. but the general fund can't help the enterprises. The enterprises can help the general fund. I had it backwards
Gotcha.
a little bit, but you got to try to match all these things up where the budget. And one thing I hope I can get out with the public this time around too is we're doing our general plan. It's like a 10-year plan, 5-year plan, and you're required to do it. And so we've done it this time. It's in good shape. We voted on it to go through. But what makes it different this time is because the last census, Safford population went over 10,000. It has to be on the ballot for the people to adopt it. We can't vote on it this time.
The general, okay.
Yeah, they have to okay it, and it's going to be on the ballot in the general election. Yes.
Oh, in the general, okay.
And lots of times when you hear things coming from government, if you don't truly understand it, you usually vote no.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way we do it for some reason.
People are afraid of changing things.
Yeah. Or a lot, there's used to getting burned too, where your yes means no, or your no means yes because of the wording that people try to throw at us.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping that this year, when they do see it on the ballot, that they help us and themselves in the city limits of Safford and vote yes on it, because we do need it. It's just approval of what direction we want growth to be. We've had hearings on it. We've asked the public to come and have their input and stuff. And so it's their input. And I'm just hoping they accept it and they vote for it.
So that's on this ballot right now?
Yeah,
it's the one
in the general.
In the general,
Yes.
which is in November.
No. It's July 21st. Normally it was in November. This year the governor moved it up.
Oh, okay.
The governor moved it up in case there's any craziness or stuff. I guess we got time to count.
Gotcha.
But I'm hoping that our citizens will see it that way.
Can you talk a little bit about what the 10-year plan is?
10-year plan identifies what direction you're probably looking to grow,
Mm-hmm.
where you are looking to probably concentrate some of the roads, annexation targets you may have, where some of our economic development we're looking forward for it to go, what direction it is. For example, and there are some people touched on this too, I believe. The athletic indoor participation on athletics, an indoor
Mm-hmm.
thing. Last plan, it was somewhat targeted that along down by the sewer plant, that would be a good place to put one. A community one. Church Street could possibly go on through and come out by the Pepsi plant, and we could have a road there. Safford kids could get to it. Thatcher kids could get to it. Pima kids would have a harder time, of course. But that was targeted, not so far north where it ended up in the floodplain, but that was designated where hopefully we could have the community built it in there, but things didn't work out at that time with cooperation on all sides and stuff. And so that was somewhat abandoned. So that's kind of why we went our direction, Safford, and purchased properties and stuff, and where we ended up with Couts Park, which we just broke ground on the other day.
Everyone's super excited about that.
Yes, they are. Not to mention, let me get this, Owens Park, which we just named the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Now that park always existed, but it was in bad shape, so we redid it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it is on at the end of El Paso and 14th Avenue. And it's on that area too, and I like it there. But if El Paso Boulevard is named El Paso Boulevard for a reason. We have El Paso Gas goes through there. So we utilize that property because really nothing else can be built over the top of that. So that's where the park was targeted. Not to mention that we're hoping someday for the road to go on through 20th or El Paso to get over to the hospital, where we have another avenue for the ambulance to get through. The congestion.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with...
pull that a little closer. Yeah, sorry.
The same with like on 8th Avenue near Couts Park.
Uh-huh.
We have one road that dead ends there, 26th Street. we're looking to build a bridge there to get across that wash, to get on over to the highway also, because we have plans in there for baseball fields and housing, hopefully, because nationally, state, locally, we are all hurting for housing. And we're hoping that road and that road artery gets us over there, alleviates some of the traffic, and again, have better access to ambulances and things like that to get on through there. All these plans take a while to make them come through. Where did I was looking at some of my, like last time when I was running, I had looked up one of the ads, or one of the things that I got asked back 4 years ago when I was running. What am I looking for to do? What would I like to go forward with and stuff? And 4 of the things that I mentioned back then was completing 20th Avenue. It's done. We got it going. It's right in front of the hospital. We upgraded it.
And it's super nice.
I had pushed for the traffic lights. We weren't going to after a study, but we did put the conduit in and the infrastructure and stuff. And then the Public Works Director happened to get a deal on traffic lights from, I believe, Maricopa or Chandler area. Bought them a whole lot cheaper, and we put them in a lot sooner. And it does make a difference there.
Yeah.
And the traffic's picked up a heck of a lot, which one citizen and one other person, I believe, is running. We have concern about the new pharmacy being built right now, because it's going to come out on the highway. We're hoping we can change people's minds and go all the way around and come out the same way, because we do know there's a lot of emotion on that street. You might come out of that hospital just losing somebody. You might come out of that hospital where you just had a baby. You might come out of the eye doctor down the road and your eyes are a little dilated and you ain't supposed to be driving, but you're driving. You might come out of the dentist's office and be a little bit down on it. We have older people in the area stuff. There's a lot going on in that small area. And I do ask our employees, keep these things painted as best you can, because my eyes are getting older, and at night I like being able to see things a little better. But that 20th Avenue's done. One of the things I'm telling you I had wanted to do. I hope I didn't lose it. Okay, one of the other things was widening Little Hollywood Road down there where Sunrise Village is.
It's on the north side of it, right? Like the northwest side of it?
It's leaving Safford city limits almost. Yeah. And there's that big trailer court, Sunrise Village, on the left. Okay, I was hoping to widen Little Hollywood Road. We're almost done on it. We would have been done on it.
And that's the road. That's the road that accesses that subdivision over there, right?
Yes, that's another back way to get into.
I can't think of Copper Canyon. Yeah,
Copper Canyon. Yes, and that's almost done. We ended up having to upgrade our infrastructure a lot more than we thought we were going to, so it kind of held us up.
Took a little bit more time,
but it's close to being complete. Drainage within the city limits of Safford. There was a time where that water was coming over the sidewalk and stuff, and Public Works has done a lot of work under the highway to help alleviate some of that drainage coming from main streets that would always affect, say, like Allred's Insurance. That's been dealt with a whole heck of a lot more. New park facilities that has been budgeted for. We've touched that. And this was what I wanted to work on 4 years ago. We're awful close. We're done it. The other one that hasn't come through, and this is where it's been kicked around for decades, is a new addition to the fire station. We're still working on that. We're trying to identify where we can place that, how we can work with the fire district to share monies to where it'll be feasible with everybody, because you still have to keep your fire rating, for example, and be within a certain amount, and you don't want to raise people's taxes, the fire district taxes, because Safford residents, for example, they don't want to only have to pay the fire district tax, but we also pay for fire district, even though we're within the city limits, because the city of Safford is not within the fire district, believe it or not. It's the craziest thing I've heard right now, but we're still working on that. Are we going to build a new one? Are we going to work on the old one?
Speaking of that, I was talking with an insurance agent recently, and she was saying, if people had to pay more taxes, but either the county or the city of Safford were able to place like a substation or something south of town, they might pay a little more in taxes, but their homeowners insurance would become way cheaper because since they're so far from the fire station, their premiums are a whole lot higher just for that reason. So if I have to pay $50 more a month in taxes,
it's worth
and
it.
I save $100 a month in insurance. That's what people need to realize. So because those are the types of things that they don't think about when they hear my taxes are going to go up. Well, yeah, but your homeowner's insurance could come down dramatically.
That is a factor in the fire rating that takes place, is how much is the insurance going to cost, and the response time, because our district goes all the way out to the airport, which with the airport, we putting in a new water tank to help with the fire suppression out there. There is always something going on with the city of Safford. We get pulled so many dang different directions that it's almost hard to keep thought of it. That's another thing, and I told this to Mr. Bell the other day because he's always complaining about how long our meetings are.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there's a little bit more to talk about than some of the others and stuff, and so it takes a little longer, but we are going to change things around. We've had some changes in the city of Safford. You've heard of those, and I think they're for the better, because I think that past influence was just a past influence. We're going forward now. I was all in for change in that direction, at that level, and I'm glad the changes that took place. And I'm looking. Another reason why I want to stay on the council is because I helped stir up some of them changes. I would like to stay and help
see it through. Yeah,
help Mr. Bejarano. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And that budgeting, I don't know. You touched the fire station. I got that out, but I'll just toot my own horn a little bit. That 4 out of the 5, I feel that we've made a lot of progress on. Last time I ran, and this time we got a lot of things on it. My main emphasis is water. We started at 11. You guys might have lunch at
We're
noon
good.
this
We're
time.
okay. We got plenty of time. It's only 11:30. We're good.
Water infrastructure, water resources, water exploration, maintaining water quality here is it almost has to be everybody's number one issue. Water conservation. That's number one. I work with the employees to always be looking out for things like that. And we've put monies in a pocket to be able to respond if we found some property that could help us water-wise. Say south of town, they had some wells. South of town's water is not as good, of course, as it is closer in. But with water battles going on, things, we can't go near the river as much as we used to. And water filtration may be a thing of the future. That's going to raise water rates to be able to do that. We do have a kind of an experiment going on. You know how you go east of town and you have the big electric transmission line crosses the road about San Jose? Well, right in there, back there, one of them's named Kempton, I think, one of the wells. That quality is not always, depending on the water, always at a level where we can just send it on into the water infrastructure. So we have what we call a skid. It's a little portable somewhat. It's not little, but it does some filtration there. And it helps us blend with the other pumps that are in the neighborhood so that we meet the ADEQ water level stuff. Because Beneath Creek is a miracle. gravity flow from clean out there. My grandparents and my grandpa, and they worked on some of that. And if you go over to that canyon, you see them pipes along the wall, you wonder how did they get them up there, especially when they don't have the equipment that we have now. Well, Mr. Case, Mr. Blake, Mr. Shirley, I knew all them rascals that had worked on that at one time, and
probably put themselves in some precarious situations hanging from those cliffs.
But water's one of my priorities, and I'm going to keep that going on. I don't know, with budget, we are required, this isn't the federal government, that the federal government, the president, of course, isn't supposed to make the budget. The Congress is, blah, blah, that's a whole other deal. We are required to have a balanced budget. So we do have to make sure that our money's coming in and blah, blah, and mixing the enterprises along with the general fund. It's quite a task.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Safford has had meetings almost every Monday for like 3 months, because we have been going line for line this time around, trying to identify where we can do this better, why we concentrate on that and this, and try to touch it up a little bit. Because again, when I came into it, we had just got out of a housing crisis. There was inflation, and so between the time I was on there and now, we do have monies in reserves. A lot of people have been giving me grief about why are you saving so much money? I didn't get you in there to save money, spend it. Well, we have the luxury of doing that now. Plus, we have what they call a fund balance that we initiated, larger. 50% of, when we talk about the budget, 50% of it, and these are for each department, sanitation department, all of them, 50% fund balance. That's like money's in reserve when we do our budget. So we're covered on that end pretty good for what's going on and what possibly could go on, plus benching our reserves. But I am one now, and it took a while to build those up. Took a couple years on them, but I'm at the point now where if we have that cushion built into it, we're that close. Any money that's in excess of that, we should spend it.
Let's do some things, yeah.
Not craziness, but things that we did have on our wish list. Because a lot of people say, where are you going to get that money? Because we put something in the 5-year plan. You put it in the plan. Like we all do our budgets. Okay, in 3 years I'm going to need a car. I'm going to put it in the budget, start planning. We catch heck for how are you going to spend that money? They think it's immediate, and it's not, of course. And so we catch a little grief on that. The perception can always mess things up. But if you take the time, another thing I told Mr. Bell, well, maybe I do string it out a little bit, but there's people in the meeting, people online that want to know a little bit more. How did you get to that decision so quick? How did you make up your mind so fast? Well, it wasn't that fast. We've been studying. If you're doing your work, you've been studying, checking it out, asking. You have to go through the manager to talk to employees, which is only right. Get the background on it, where we are at on that, so that you can make your decision to plan these out. And so sometimes there's people in the audience or out online that I may explain a little bit more so that they have an understanding about that. And so
because that's your opportunity to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
exactly. Even with the other counselors, I can only talk to 2 others about an item before it comes up on the agenda. So we don't always get to talk to one another. A lot of people think you can talk all you want. No, this is our chance to talk. And so when some don't talk, that irritates me. But
well, and Safford's so much bigger than Thatcher and Pima, and like you said, there's a lot more going on. It makes sense that the meetings are going to be longer than Thatcher and Pima's.
And I won't touch in the past. I think we're redoing our agendas. Like one counselor said, hey, how about bringing back our consent items? That means that some of the stuff that's grouped up, if we already have an idea, we might have 5 of them that we kind of already know that we need to move on, or they're just housekeeping or stuff. Let's just vote on them all in one whack and get them out of the way and get to talking about the business we want. I think because I've been on council this length of time, I do have first name relationship with our representatives from the state level and a couple federal ones and stuff, which does make a big difference. That I have their phone numbers, they have mine. We call each other by our first name. That does make a big difference because we do get monies here, whether Safford gets it, Thatcher gets it, or Pima gets it. As a whole, we work together to lobby our representatives. I might be talking to Mayor Howard. I may be talking to Paul Roger David. We talk. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about? And so when we do run into them, get to meet them, we get to present it as a whole, and that makes a big difference to know one another, be able to work with one another, knowing your representatives, and that takes a little while to develop. And I think I'm in that area. I felt so crazy about coming on here because you almost had to toot your own horn when it came.
That's what
you had to sell yourself.
Well, when you're running for an election, you've got to
let people know why.
You got to let people know why to vote for you. So toot it.
Toot it. Yeah, I enjoyed my time in the National Guard. I got although I didn't have to go into combat, I went into some. We had some things that go on where I'm not going to say I'd have to kill you, but I'll give you that look. But it was like, for example, after the United States went into Panama and grabbed Noriega out of there, papaya face, and that's what they call him, out of the papaya. But we, as the National Guard, we went 2 different times, 2 years for our summer camp, to go down there and help rebuild some of their structure, help rebuild some of the areas. Not that we had done any damage to it, but just as good neighbors and stuff. But we drilled wells, help make the foundation for schools and medical facilities and stuff. So that was a lot of fun going and doing that. There was places in Panama we couldn't go, of course, or we didn't go alone. One of the other ones was Hurricane Mitch when it hit Honduras, a big old nasty hurricane. I was in charge of 48 people from Safford and about 30 of them from Phoenix. We went down there. And that was kind of strange because at that time, I wasn't as big a sergeant as some of them that went, but yet I was in charge of them. The majority of our bunch was Spanish speaking, even some of our missionaries, Spanish speaking. So we get there and we're Spanish speaking, the majority of them, because I had already grouped them up in 3s where at least one of them spoke Spanish. But when we went with Louisiana, and when they all heard us talking stuff, they wanted to split up our whole bunch. So I said, okay, guys, you can't talk Spanish no more around here, because they were wanting to set us out to different sites because the damage was so bad. The site we went to was a river, and you seen Planet of the Apes, where you at the end the Statue of Liberty sticking her hand out out of the sand and the beach and stuff. If you see it, there was a pillar from a bridge that was there. That's all that was sticking out of there. So that whole time we were there, we worked on it, because our job was to at least rough cut a pass through that river so that they could get to the other side, because on the other side was where they got their supplies. They had to go all the way around 4 hours to get just to the other side. So we had to rough cut that where they got their agriculture and their things, and we'd drill wells and stuff. That was a blessing. I enjoyed that mission. It was kind of crazy, but that was a blessing that I got to go on. I enjoyed every second of that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was miserable, but
yeah. Usually some of the best memories are misery,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you don't
miserable at the time, but you look back and it's like
the ones you remember and the ones you learn from.
Yeah.
Well, I just know, and watching these current events where they have the world football going on, you see all these people from the other countries bragging on us, how great America is.
I've seen those videos too.
How great this is. They go in the store and they can't believe what we have. They love the biscuits and gravy, and I wanted to get them over here and try some of our Mexican food. Although in Louisiana they were burning up a little bit. But to see that on there, how they see that how great the United States is. I'm looking forward to this 4th of July that's coming up,
Yeah.
and the events that are going on. I know I'm probably leaving something out. Oh, one more for sure before I don't know how much time you got.
We got as much time as you need.
Okay.
Yep, we're good.
One of the times when I was in the military, not one of the times, a time, okay, with what's going on, current events right now, for example, with Iran. During my time in the military, they had taken over our embassy. So I thought, well, here we go. We even did duty in Fort Irwin, which is right near Death Valley, to start training in desert kind of operations. And I went there on a task force because I worked on the poles even in the Army. We went to rebuild that post there because the Army made it the national training center for desert warfare. So we went there to do that, to get that built up. But one thing sticks out in my mind is there was a change in the president. They placed Mr. Ronald Reagan in there. And the day that he got sworn in, they gave us our hostages back. So I felt a little bit better as a military. I felt a little stronger that took place. I said, what do they see in this person? There was a change in leadership that they recognized, and I was glad to see it because it showed. I felt the strength that took place, and I kind of feel that's kind of going on now. Whether that's a political statement or not, that's what it is. I'm just glad that that's taken place.
Yeah.
I'll leave some in case you have something you want to ask me.
No, you kind of brought up a lot of the things that I had in mind to talk about, including water, especially. That's kind of where, here in the Southwest, that's always top of mind, always topical.
Yes.
All these lakes are drying up. It gets a little scary, and so it's good to know that a candidate that has that top of mind is good.
One other thing that kind of goes along with our 10-year plan, our general plan, is years ago we made a trade with the water, the co-op, their water company, for the central area. And they come all the way and butt up with our water system. They're not physically attached, but about where Fertizona is. Okay, we made a trade of the central area to the co-op. They traded their franchise area, which is east of First Avenue in Safford, from Lower Jensen Hill and all the way to the railroad tracks to Monteer. So we traded all that. We got the gas there now. They got the water there now.
Gotcha.
That was at the end of our system. But there was just a lot of infrastructure we were going to have to deal with and stuff, so we made the trade. And that trade, along with making a deal with the county for our effluent water going up to their fairgrounds, that's where we send a lot of our sewer water, effluent water. We send it to the fairgrounds. Well, with all them trading and manipulation going on, we ended up to where we saved enough water, domestic water, for about 746 households. So that was that's
big.
Good trade.
Yeah.
And not to mention that the area we got east of town, we have our infrastructure set up there. We have the majority of the electric power past the cotton gin and things like that. It's our gas area. Certainly easy to get to with our sewer and our utilities, our infrastructure. And that's kind of the direction that the general plan identifies that we're growing towards. Because Safford, we butt up against Thatcher on 20th. We can't come this way no more. So I think that was a good trade. I'm glad we have that done that way. And now I see why the president's hair turns white when he's in there. My eyebrows turned white.
Well, you look great.
I told you about the fund balance. I think our relationships with Pima and Thatcher and the county have improved, especially over the last few months. I don't know if you guys went to where where and when the city managers and a representative from Freeport-McMoran, they all talked to us at the General Service Building. All four managers and the representatives spoke to all of us, the county, on where we were with some of their ideas and some of their economic woes and projects that were going on. Now, without the changes I think that took place at the top of Safford's,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that had taken place a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm glad it did.
Yeah.
I think that helped us a lot. I got to go to a GED graduation at the library the other day. People getting their GEDs. Safford Library is always doing something. If I got a pet, I guess it's the library. I might have to edit that out because I ain't supposed to have no certain departments I like. But they always have things going on. And they had a graduation for people that had received their GEDs, actually in their robes. Actually got up to talk. I thought that was so neat. It's the second time, and I hope to see it again. Safford shares with the county and all the other seats in trying to find recovery for addicts and anybody that's dependent of different things and stuff. We have programs that we work together with and for recovery,
Mm-hmm.
and that's very important. I'm looking forward to the 4th of July celebrations. I have to serve breakfast. I got to be in Pima at 5:30 in the morning Saturday to make pancakes and stuff, but that's okay by me. That's pretty much what I was hoping to keep on track about with what.
It's impressive to me. Like you said, there's a lot going on.
Always.
And that's why. And I mean, you're doing this out of the, you're sacrificing your own time. You're retired now. You could just you could go fishing, do whatever you want. Go. And I'm sure I'm sure you enjoy your retirement as well. But it's admirable people like you and and people that aren't retired. I mean, the amount of time that you have to donate to be in a position like this is admirable. And so I appreciate you and others on Safford's Council, Thatcher's, Pima's, all of them, because it's something that we have to have. And so if there weren't people like you that were willing to donate that time, we'd be up a creek. So thank you for all that you do for the city.
You bet. And I think I've got the experience. I definitely have the heart. I don't just go back to Washington and can hide. If you see me in Walmart, you can tell me. I keep a piece of paper and a pen handy so I can write down. And with the changes again that took place, I'm hoping to do it again because I got the health. I've got the experience. I think I could still do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I decided to run again.
I think so too.
Yeah, and we appreciate you taking, as busy as you are, taking your time to come chat with us. And
well, I'm glad I got to meet you.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah.
And if you ever have any questions, I'm not hard to find.
Yeah,
I'll give you his number.
He said, and I do appreciate you. I think I told you when we met in Thatcher, because I didn't really know you.
Mm-hmm.
I probably asked you, are you thin-skinned? You better not be. Because I'm a family friend, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You're my friend by proxy till you prove different, and I think we've remained friends.
I'd agree. Absolutely. I always enjoy running into you, and he always says, "What's up, Loco?" He always calls you Loco. So, well, perfect. Cool. Arnold, thanks, man. Appreciate your time.
You bet. I'm glad you asked me to come.
Absolutely.
It's been great.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Like Gucci.